In this video, I'm going to show you how to inspect RV sealant, show you what's normal and what needs to be replaced. Now these are the tools you need for inspecting RV sealant. A phone to take some pictures, a flashlight helps you spot some of those areas that aren't so easy to see, and some tape to mark areas you find so you don't forget about them later. Now how often should you check your RV sealant? The RV manufacturer recommends every 90 days. This doesn't mean you have to get out a caulk gun every 90 days. It means you need to be looking at the sealant so that way you know when areas need to be resealed and catch them before it's too late. Now let me show you some examples of good and bad sealant. So let's give you some baseline here. So this here is the roof material. You can see the roof material itself starting to get some cracks into it. That's a different subject. We're not going to cover that in the sealant video, but that is a future issue. Now roof materials here. Up here is your front cap. This is fiberglass. This is your rubber material. This trim between here, this is your front cap trim rail. Now on this sealant, you can see some cracks forming in there. If you look close right here, you'll see some gaps between the sealant and that trim rail. On the other side here, this is just paint flaking. So it's not really a sealant issue there. That's just cosmetic. Now going down this way, you can see somebody has resealed this before, but didn't put enough sealant right there because the gap formed right away. Going down further, they sealed the whole thing and covered it. This is some good sealant. I'm going to put some examples on the screen of some RV sealant that does not need to be resealed. That's in really good shape. Here are some examples of bad RV sealant that just needs to be resealed. Here are some examples of bad RV sealant that needs to be scraped off before new sealant can be put on. Now a commonly asked question is what areas leak first on most RVs? The first areas I go to on the roof are the four corners. That's going to be over here. Let me show you. So your corners are this radius area that goes down from the roof to your gutter down here. Right here on this trim, this area opens up the most. You can see a little gap forming right here. The reason being, the roof is down here and the trim wants to push up here naturally when it warms up. So it always creates a separation between the trim and the roof right in there. So you'd want to make sure this area is sealed because I see this open up quite often on RVs. And not just the roof side. Make sure you're looking at this area over here towards the front cap. And on this RV, this area is good and sealed. And the other common area is popped air bubbles and sealant. It's really hard to see, but you see that little spot right there? That was an air bubble that is popped and water can get into that area. In some areas, like over here, I'm going to show you, this has some air bubbles that are going to pop. So that one is starting, but this one over here, I can pop it. So when that air bubble pops, you can see the screw right below that. Water will get in and around that screw. So by catching those areas before they leak can prevent future water damage. Now the next big question, how do I spot hidden leaks before damage starts? This is looking at sealant that's not stuck and you can lift it up. So it's typically around a skylight. You're looking at this sealant here. If you take your fingernail and pull on it, this one is stuck well and sealed. But I had an RV, the one you're looking at on the screen right now. The sealant looked great from a distance. When I grabbed it, you can pull it and peel it right up. Water can definitely get underneath of it if you can pull it up and it's not stuck, and that can create lots of water damage. I've seen that way too many times. Now let's cover how sun affects sealant. This will mostly just change the color of the sealant. Like the skylight right here, you can see the sun's been affecting it. Yes, trees over top, so it's dirty, but this is a yellowed skylight. The sealant itself isn't too bad around there, but what happens in these southern climates especially, the sun has strong UV rays. Those UV rays are harder on sealant and roof material in general, and it'll dry out that sealant and make it crack sooner. When that sealant starts cracking, water can leak in and water damage can happen. Now the most popular question, can I just reseal over old sealant, or do I have to scrape it off to reseal? First off, RV sealant is designed to be able to reseal on top of each other, but you need to make sure it's pliable first. So pliable means it's soft and has a good base layer to it. Put my fingernail into it, you can see it's making a nice indent. Of course, you'd have to clean this to make sure the new sealant will bond to it, but if this sealant was dry and cracked and crusty, you'd have to scrape it off to make a nice good reseal. Now, RV sealant has a limit to it, how many times you can reseal it. So if you've resealed it 2 or 3 times, now it has 4 layers, that base layer plus your 2 or 3 reseals, and now you're at 3 or 4 layers of sealant. If you're resealing that, most likely the base foundation layer is dry and cracked, and you won't have a good bond to the roof itself. When the sealant gets really thick like that, I would recommend scraping it off and starting over. So now you have one nice good layer of sealant that'll seal really well. Now this video is part of the series showing the entire process about RV sealant. It goes from inspecting sealant to removing and replacing sealant. If you want to watch the entire process from start to finish in one video, you'll find that link in the description along with the tools and supplies I use, so make sure you check that description below.